Ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, we moved to Spotify.
Alright, yo, so listen. Let's get back into everything. Let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about, because I'm not going into the situation, because he was saying that he went independent and now everybody's trying to get stuff from him. I can't speak on that. I know nothing about that, so I'm not going to say anything about that, right? But let's talk about some of the stuff that I don't think is talked about more. Okay, so we go in there. We're talking about albums. We're gonna clean these albums up right up the black eye. So when we look at the albums that Tori was talking about, and he was calling out names like celebrity names, celebrity names, and saying you got my number, but you didn't call me, right? So okay, that's cool, right? So we're gonna talk about those. And the album's called Daystar. If you wanna know, that is the third and the fourth track where he was just going at people, saying you know the full story, but you're not gonna talk about it, which the public doesn't know, and that's fine. They want to be private people. Cool. Took them 3 months to reply. Happened to be an album in a sense, yeah, because I'm gonna call it an album. So it was an album in a sense. So I guess everyone expected it. He threw a few shots. The shots were more hits than misses. The album overall I do like, but it's not something I'm like, oh my god, yo, this is crazy. We gotta get back into this and do it bad because this album is this and this album is that. That's something I'm like, nah, not something I'm really like, we gotta get back into this album. Oh, it's crazy. It's good though. It's a good 1-2 listen song or an album. It's a very good thing to listen to, right? But then we get into albums, right? And this is where it's going to kill me to talk about albums, right? Because, believe it or not, we get into these albums that are so above par that it is it's weird to even talk about because they're so above par, right? So you get a list of albums and you're like, yo, what are we gonna name these albums? What are we gonna talk about in these albums? And so Bryson Tiller said, to be the anniversary of Trap Soul, or to continue the anniversary of Trap Soul, he was going to make almost like a salute to Trap Soul, right? So, I guess me, the general public, we said, well, if he's doing it and it's gonna be considered a gift to Trap Soul, right? So if it's gonna be like a Trap Soul stuff that didn't make it on Trap Soul, it should be good, right? And for the most part, it was. Shout out to Bryson Tiller. He wasn't sure if people were gonna like it, but let me tell you, I loved it. I loved the album. Loved it. Years ago was a good song on the album. It was a song where if you are really into an album and you want emotions, it's a great song, right? Because he just talks about him with himself debating if releasing a third album would be worth it. And truth be told, I don't think he waited 5 years. He was dealing with stuff, and he finally decided to drop it on the anniversary of Trap Soul, which is a good song. Overall it's good. Sorrow, decent. Time Interlude, which was great. I think it had some remarks. He was like, some relationships have turned cold. Some relationships have turned cold, and he didn't want a lot of people to worry. So that's very understandable. I would not want them to happen either. We talk about Out of Control when the features with Drake. So Drake was on also the Savage Mode 2 feature, and I think overall, his album is gonna be called what? It was gonna be called, I think it was Certified Lover Boy. So his feature with Bryson Tiller, which I know is old, or might be new, but you can kind of tell that it took time, and you can see the more lover side of Drake, so it's understandable, right? While on the other hand, you do hear bars where he's like, they never have open discussions, right? You never have open discussions. It's never that simple with that girl, and you kind of understand. It's out of time for him, that girl, and the situation they were dealing with. So it is a very interesting song, and it does hold a little weight. Things change. I think this song overall is generally about like second chances. You know, people, people's people are motivated by different things, and they want to change by certain things. And I think in the things change, he was just like, well, I'm in a better place now, and I want to make sure or give us a second chance, which is a good thing to do. I should stress that doing it is a very good thing to do if you can handle it that way and handle those relationships or them friendships and give them second chances and rebuild off them. They are great, but don't force it. Don't ever force those type of bonds or those. Just don't force it. Relationships overall, I understand. Sorrows, he was just kind of saying, you know, him and the girl aren't always on best terms, but if she hit him up and say something, he'll always be there for her, no matter what. Even if he got to show up, he'll be there, which is good. Don't get me wrong, which is great. He's saying, but it might be a little too late to fix them, even if they're on good or bad terms. It might be too late to fix them, and he can't wait forever, which brings me to the keep doing what you're doing. And he was just saying, I don't think I can't wait that much longer, right? Yeah, I can't wait that much longer, which ended the album in the last two songs, right? Cousin Hill was great, but that's not how it came up to me. It came up as the two leading singles and then the album. So I'm gonna explain that. Then I'm going into detail into those three singles. So we're gonna go into what next song would be keep doing what you're doing, which is a great song. It's a in-depth song, and you really understand it from his side. He was like, I'm normally a reserved person, but I think now I'm just gonna let y'all hear the side of my story, and it's I do love it. This is one of my favorite songs on the album, actually, because you can kind of, it's kind of the setup for Next to You. Next to You is just people in love, right? People in love, right? And I always want to be beside that person or that guy or that woman or whatever, that pet, that animal, and just being like, you want to be there for them and always there for them, and they might take that love for granted sometimes and just see it as, oh, he's just being friendly, or she's just being friendly, or he's just, and he's just saying, you might take it for granted, and they just want to spend time and get next to them, which is a great understanding. I think that's a better understanding than what people normally define love as. So it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's amazing. I actually do love that definition a little bit more than my own definition. But overall, the album is a solid. It's a solid 9 out of 10. Actually, it's a good love album. I've been on for a while. So, okay. Before I even move on from Bryson Tiller, because I know I'm gonna have to come back. You're a Bryson Tiller fan. Love Trap Soul. Love True to Self. Love them both. I love both of those albums equally, right? But I do have more songs on Trap Soul, right? So I really don't want this to seem biased. So I'm just going to make sure, review a few things, and just really talk about the few things that are just kind of showing their head. Okay. So I gotta explain this. Trap Soul is canceled, and True to Self is more like Blame. They are good, right? They are amazing, right? Amazing albums. But I think True to Self was more him speaking his emotions out about how he felt with a certain person or people that he was around. Trap Soul, I think, was more an album for like the people that listen to R&B, the people that are just like it's a cool album. He's a good R&B singer. Um, he's a good R&B singer, but it's not necessarily for today. It's more for hype songs, popular music. That's how I categorize that as. Wow, True to Self. They're both okay. They're both R&B, right? They're both considered R&B, but I think True to Self was more of him in a venting manner, and it's great. I love Check In. I love Self Made. I love Run Me Dry. It's if you can relate to both, I can relate to both these albums, so I love them deeply, very well. Love Exchange, love Been That Way. You put up Trap Soul and I'm blasting it. I'm singing it down the road. It's a good album. It's a very good, decent album. Actually, one of my favorite R&B albums, actually, because he's right up there with You Saved Me, and it's a good album. Um, okay, so I've always seen Bryson Tiller as like a younger version of The Weeknd. So the original Rambo verse was good. So then you hear the Weeknd's part of it, and it's so weird because the Weeknd put out remixes for After Hours, right? For After Hours, right? And I do think, I'm not trying to be rude, but I do think this would have been a great thing to put on After Hours because it goes with the After Hour flow. And I do love Rambo. I do love Rambo, and I love The Weeknd on it even more. Him saying that he had to prove that he was a top pop artist, or had to do it to destroy the pop artist charts, which he did with After Hours, and I'm happy he admits that. But overall, I think The Weeknd and Bryson Tiller, I need another feature with this because that feature was crazy. I was not expecting it, so when I seen it, went to the side, I said, "Oh, The Weeknd's on this. Oh, he kills it. Him and Bryson Tiller kill it." I actually like Bryson Tiller and The Weeknd more than like the Drake thing, and I'm a tad biased because I do like the leaks, but I do also like that Rambo. That Rambo thing is crazy. I know it was recorded 2017, 2015, but I think that still holds weight. With his, I believe was his, because it was Killer Instinct. Then it was It was Killer Instinct, then it was Trap Soul in 2015, and then True to Self 2017, and then Get Mine was in the song, not an album. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's so good of a song. You would be shocked to find somebody that hates it, but they're good. The Weeknd verse, he kills it, man. He just straight destroys the vibe. It's weird. Anyway, I love that Rambo remake. It is great. I actually do like it. It's called Last Blood, featuring The Weeknd. It's on the deluxe album. It is called, Rambo Last Blood, featuring The Weeknd, which is a great song by itself. I have a feeling this is gonna run a tad bit long because I'm a huge Bryson Tiller fan, so I can see this going a tad bit longer than it's supposed to. Okay. So when I said it's all said and done, amen. This right here, this album is an album in which you kind of have to love R&B, because there you hear albums like Last Time, right, featuring that person. I cannot say that name. There's a great feature, but I just cannot say that person's name. I don't want to mess it up because I understand when somebody messes up my name, it kind of irritates me. I'm not gonna mess up their name. But I think the first song off the record, the first song off the 4-song EP is all said and done. When I think it's all said and done, he was just saying that, he talks to his friends about who he likes or whatever, and he just doesn't want that weight on him, which is a great thing. Finally somebody said it. And then the next song is Still Your Best. And Still Your Best is like one of the weirdest, most interesting songs you ever hear. He's kind of saying like, I could always go back to her, and her just talking about talking about his ex and how she downgraded from him because her new boyfriend isn't him, which you which you do get in relationships, and you do, and that does tend to happen. But I think when it happened on this scale, it is he's not very well known. So I think when it happens on this scale, on a song like this, you get the R&B vibe to it. It really does bring emotion because people normally do go through that where they're debating and being like, she's a downgrade because and it's so weird that in this society we do it, but we do it off of human nature, not necessarily not because it's true, but it's so weird that it happened. And in the song, you just kind of reflect and be like, well, I've said that a few times. It's understandable, but did I rush to conclusions? It's so weird to watch. I'm not getting into that though, because that'll be another conversation. And then I said the last time the woman feature, it was good. It had some memorable lines. It did have some very memorable lines. I come here and they were just talking about emotions between them and how it could turn, and it could be serious with them. It genuinely could be serious with them again, because they love being around each other and they can be themselves. So it's possible they can get back together, which is great because I love R&B music that is made like that. Stuck on Your Soul. Stuck on You is something where I think most people do go through. Like, they'll be stuck after a breakup or whatever and just be like, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I handled this situation wrong. Maybe I did that wrong. And you almost feel bad. So you like, maybe I can give it another chance. I was just talking to one of my good friends about this situation earlier. But you kind of get into a situation where, like, maybe I could have handled this better. Maybe we should have talked this situation out and had open discussions about that. As it said in the Anniversary album with Bryson Tiller and Drake, when he said Out of Time, when he said, we never have open discussions. It's never that simple. If you have more open discussions, you can probably work on whatever the issue is, if it's not a massive issue. I would recommend you do say that, but I would say overall, this is something I did rather enjoy. This was these it's short, so I can't rate it out of 10. So I'm gonna rate it out of 5, and I'm still gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Just because you feel the emotions. It's a good song when you taking a ride and you just like, oh my god, I didn't think about this, or we should have done that. And it's just so, as a song, you sit there and you go, yo, this could be amazing. This actually could be so much amazing. Yeah, but you're like, yo, this is so much amazing. I don't even understand why we didn't think about this to begin with. Which is still great, don't get me wrong. But I think overall, you do start understanding that you get albums and they bring up very emotions. So, even though I know Tory album is considered hip hop, I'm gonna take that because he took people's flows. So I'm gonna give that 6 out of 10. When it's all said and done, the EMP, giving that a 4 out of 5. Right now, when I'm giving him actually a 9 out of 10. Because I did like the album. I liked the scheme. You can feel the toxicity, and I liked it. Or just the just reminiscing the past. Overall, I do think this was kind of the best week for albums to drop. Which is for albums to drop and talk about situations that are seriously happening to people. I think this is like the better situation of it. So I do say, if you are in one of these situations, or you want a love song kind of album and you want to like genuinely feel it, I would say check these albums out, because it is when you're all said and done, the Anniversary. But I would say, if I had to pick one album over what I would say Anniversary, and then I would have to say when it's all said and done. Just my personal opinion, but I like them both. But I would play them in that order. I probably put After Hours in there in the mix somewhere. But for my review album, these are all great, and I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Hey, rate it if you want to. As long as you enjoyed, let me know. Hey, because we all, it's all family here, and we just gotta make sure that If you know, especially if it's opinion about music, I love talking about it. Leave a comment, leave something. You know, leave a rating if you want to. I don't know. Yeah, I can't wait to see you in the next one.